Hey everybody, I wanted to take you on what seems to be the obligatory YouTube tour of my Lifetime Tamarack Kayak and the modifications that I made to it. I guess we'll start back here. Well, first let me give you a little history on this. I ordered this from Walmart.com the 1st of December of last year. And the first one they sent me arrived damaged. So I called Walmart customer service, and they were real nice. Everybody I spoke to was real pleasant, and they assured me that they'd get it taken care of. Well, long story short, I got the replacement almost a month to the day after I first ordered it. But after about 5 phone calls, we finally got it done, and they were nice enough to give me a 20% refund, which brought my final cost on it down to about $220. But that was over the course of December. So I wasn't really going to go anywhere during December and January, so that was fine with me. Guess we'll start back here with my crate that everybody has to add. You can see I've got plenty of room in here for my backpack with other tackle boxes. I've got my tackle box here. Got the anchor over here in a piece of PVC. Crate is held on with this paracord with hooks on it that have got a cam lock on it, and I just slip those in the handle, tighten it up, and that's nice and snug. Get ready to take it off, just release the cam lock, and it comes off easy enough. As you can see, I added these rod holders. There's one on each side, just cut PVC just like everybody else, and put those on there. You can see that with the rod holder that came with the boat, and the way this is situated, I can get 2 rods in there easy enough, and they're easy to get to and get out. Let me take this off so I can show you what I did to the crate. Hope I don't step on that rod while I'm doing this. The crate, I hold the front on with the bungee cord that just keeps it tied down a little bit, but what I did on the crate was, because of this hatch back here, which is absolutely worthless, I cut the bottom off of my crate and then repositioned it about 1.5 inches higher up, and held it in place with the zip ties. One of the very first things, excuse me, one of the very first things I did was add these outriggers. And the reason for that, my wife and I bought a couple of kayaks just for puttering around in, and before we took them out, I decided I might ought to get one in the pool and practice getting in and out of it. And I was doing real well, and just about the time I was ready to pat myself on the back, I went to get in it, and it slipped out from under me, flipped over, and then I got to thinking, well, I bet they don't have any steps in the lake, so I better figure out how to get in and out of this thing in case it tips over. So I got on YouTube and I looked at videos of how to get back in your kayak. The Only problem was everybody that was doing these videos was under 35 years old and weighed less than 150 pounds. So after struggling for about an hour in the pool, I was sweating, and I realized that it just wasn't going to happen for me. I'm about 225 pounds. So this was my first priority, was to add these outriggers. I did it with just PVC and boat bumpers. I think these were 11 bucks a piece at Academy. And then to make it so that I could transport it in my truck, I put these clevis pins on here. Those just come out and the whole thing pops right off. One thing that did pose a bit of a problem is figuring out how to get this cross piece mounted securely on here, because one of the problems is, you may not can tell it from the video, but there's an angle from here to here, so it angles down that way, and I had to figure out some way to get it securely held on there. So what I did was I took some PVC pipe and I split it, heated it up, flattened it out, and then heated it again, and I was able to mold it so that it fit this angle and this angle just exactly right. It's held in with 4 screws on each side. Each one of them's got marine adhesive in it, so these things are on there pretty tight. Over here, this was a afterthought, came much later. I had ordered a cheap package of action cam accessories, and came with this cheap little selfie stick, but I noticed that it was threaded on the end with a 1/4 thread, so I made this bracket again out of PVC, and so I'm able to move that around like that. It'll swivel in whatever direction I want the camera to go. It comes up and extends. It'll go up about, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 feet. On the seat, this was an old tool pouch that I hadn't used in probably 20 years, so I just bungee corded it onto the back of the seat. Keep my slab jigger, crappie bites, Gatorade, whatever in there. And when I'm traveling, this just flips over and the seat folds down like that. And what I did here, it comes with the seat that comes with it has this latch on it, and the seat that was on there, if you get one, the first thing you need to do is look for a way to change the seat out. There's no way that I could last more than a couple hours in the seat that's in there. But the back comes off, and what I did was I built this bracket, again, out of PVC, heated it up, flattened it out, bent it like I wanted it. Where it fits in down here, the PVC is just a little bit too big, so I put that on my lathe and shaved off about 20/1000ths of an inch. After I'd gone to all the trouble of setting my lathe up and getting that done, I figured out I could have done the same thing with a strip of 60 grit sandpaper in about half the time. I originally had it with just these hose clamps holding it on, but it still had a tendency to shift back and forth, so ultimately I put these screws, I don't know if you can see them, in there, and that stopped that completely. It's in there pretty solid now, and with me shifting around, it doesn't move at all, and it'll still lock in place with that snap there. On the bottom, to brace it, I took a piece of tubing that I had laying around, and I don't know if I can show you this, but hope that shows up. I just drilled a hole in there, drilled all the way through the bracket on the seat, and then screwed that on and cinched it down. And again, that's pretty solid like it is. What I found on the seat was this is just wrapped around here and held on by this webbing here, but the seat had a tendency to all slide forward as I'm shifting around in the seat, and all of this was moving toward the front here. So I just took this paracord and tied it on there to kind of anchor it in place. You can see how it's shifted from the center here over to here, and believe me, there's no way to get that scooted back over there. When you're not sitting in it, it's pretty darn tight. But this paracord seems to be holding it just fine, so that's working for me. Got my waterproof phone bag here on a coiled cord that or lanyard that I made these. Again, I saw it on YouTube, and that's where I got the idea from. And these things are really, really handy. I have no fear of dropping my phone in the water, and with it in this bag, it's not going to get wet if I do. And the nice part about it is, inside this bag, it still has all the functions. You can still do everything you could with it out of the bag. There's a couple of kayak apps that I use, and then I can also use it if I want to make a call, or if I want to send a text message or read a text message. Everything works just fine in the bag. Moving forward, we got these hatches here, another hatch in the front here. You've probably seen on other videos that this is hollow all the way through, so you can either get a waterproof bag to put stuff in there, but what I did was I took these waterproof boxes that I got at Walmart. I forget, they were $5-6 a piece. Put some Velcro on the bottom of it, and then Velcro on the bottom of the boat. I've got one for wallet, keys, such as that, and then I've got this one that stays in there all the time. That's got emergency horn, Leatherman tool, reading glasses for threading line through eyelets, and that all just sticks right down in there, and with the Velcro it stays in place very well. Another tool pouch over there for my pliers and scissors, again held on with a coiled lanyard there. Got a lanyard on my paddle. Actually, with this on here and the pontoons in place, I can just throw this off the side and lean it on the arm of the outrigger and do whatever I need to do, and then reach back and get it. It just floats right there beside me all the time. On this hatch right here, I put a piece of Velcro on there, and a piece of Velcro on the bottom of the tackle box. That way I can slap it down on there, and it's not going to tip over and dump everything out in the boat, or worse, in the lake. On all the reviews of the Tamarack that I've seen on YouTube, Everybody calls that a cup holder. That is not really a cup holder. I'm going to show you what it's for. That's where you keep all your jigs and lures and whatever else to keep it from sliding around the boat and to keep from having to dig it out of the tackle box every time you get ready to change the lure. The drink holder, as far as I'm concerned, is this little concave spot right here. Just kidding, that probably was originally designed to be a cup holder, but I found it to be more useful that way. I did the same thing everybody else has done on the scupper plugs. I got the foam practice golf balls. Just poked a hole in it, threaded some paracord through it, tied a couple of knots on the bottom, and that makes it easy to get them in and out. On the side here, I mounted the Yak Attack anchor trolley. One thing I will say is you can see now I've got some slack in there. Believe me, you want that, because when I first put it on, I had it pretty tight, and after this thing saw water and sun about 8 or 10 times, this shrunk up and it was so tight that I could barely move it. So you might want to leave a little extra if you decide to put one of these on there. The nice thing about it is they give you enough paracord to put an anchor trolley on a destroyer if you wanted to. So I had plenty left over to redo the job. This was the rod holder that originally came with it, but I made some modifications to it so that I can mount my fish finder on it. See if I can show you here. The fish finder just comes off. I can move it up and move the transducer up and down, drop it in the water just like that. If I need to get it out of the way, I can raise it up and then pick the whole thing up and move it over. See if I can get this off so I can show you how this is mounted. Again, boy, I'm glad I learned how to flatten PVC and make sheets out of it, because it's been invaluable, the different things that I've been able to come up with on it. But this piece that you see right here is just a piece of PVC that I cut out and mounted on the fish finder itself. These screws here look like overkill, I know, but the only reason I chose that size was because there happened to be a hole there already that screw fit perfectly into. And then once I had this piece on here, I just mounted the mounting bracket onto that, and then the mount for the fish finder just snaps in there. Fish finder snaps on, and I can move it however I want. Swivels back and forth. And over here, I again have the same accessory pack for the GoPro. They had a bicycle handlebar mount for your action camera. So I've got camera mounted on here. This piece here, all it does is when I get ready to move the camera in a different direction, I can just turn that, and it cinches it down tight where it's not going to move. And for the transducer, let me take this off and I'll show you what I did. I didn't glue this in here, so I can put that in and take it out. I can coil my cord up and pack it away. On here, this is just a PVC, drilled a hole through it, mounted the transducer on there, and that slips right in there. It's nice and tight. It's not gonna go anywhere. I can move the transducer however I want. Keep this part here tied up with a cable strap. That's just to keep debris and stuff from getting caught up in there and hung up. For the battery, I looked at probably 100 YouTube videos, and everybody showed mounting it inside the hull, but I didn't want anything that permanent. So what I did, again, another one of these waterproof boxes that got at Home Depot. Don't remember, $10, $15, something like that. And I've got the battery inside here with some foam to hold it in place so it's not shifting around. To keep it relatively waterproof, I don't know if you can see that, but I took my Dremel tool and it's a rotary tool that just cut a little circle out of there. The cord fits in there just right. I was careful that when I was cutting it out on this side not to damage this rubber seal around here. And with this closed and locked, it is 99.9% waterproof. If I'm in a situation where I'm having to worry about water getting into this box, I've got more things to worry about than a $20 battery. And this is for when I got it in the back of the truck, and there's about 4 feet of it hanging out the back. Don't want anybody running into me, so I put this flag on here, and it just stays there all the time. So when I get ready to take it out of the water and pack everything up, all I have to do is pull it out of here, wind all the cord up, take my fish finder off, unplug everything, and that all packs up into a nice neat little bag, and I can transport all of that in the bag. When I get ready to unload and take everything out, this comes off. There's a certain way that it goes on and a certain way it comes off, and that's it. So this whole thing comes off too. Everything packs up nice and neat once you get it unwound here. This just coils back up. I use the strap tie to hold all that together. That goes into the bag, and the fish finder fits in there, and I'm ready to go. on the battery box when we get ready to go. This all coils up nice and neat, fits inside the box there. Lock it up and we're ready to go. So that's pretty much my setup. I realize there's probably some stuff that I didn't cover very well, and some of it you may not be able to see very well. So if you got any questions or want me to go into a little more in-depth explanation of any of this, just drop me a note in the comments. Appreciate you watching, and I hope you found some of this useful. Have a good one.